What's brilliant about AdNet Zero, what's brilliant about today, is this initiative is bringing together the industry, including fiercely competitive agencies, in recognition of a far higher purpose, a far bigger issue, the biggest issue facing us today. So in a weird turn of events, I want to start rather than end with a thank you slide. There it is. I want to thank the Advertising Association for creating AdNet Zero and bringing us together for this common purpose. We're proud to be active members. I also want to applaud Group M for pioneering the work on the media carbon calculator made available industry-wide and the development of their new framework. And in the same spirit to Iris for leading the way with their work around advertising emissions. I'm the chairman of Havas in the UK, 2 months into the job, coming to the role after many years as a creative lead. So I'm just going to talk about the UK today, and I titled this, What Kind of Company Do We Want to Be? Because that's the question the leadership team asks of ourselves when we're debating and decision-making around every aspect of our business. Pretty obvious thing to say, you might say. Spoiler alert, there's a few of those coming. But it helps us to keep us coming back to not just what we do, but how we do it. In my new role, one of my major responsibilities is for the future health of this company. Well, this B Corp quote sums up what kind of decisions we need to be making as a company and as an industry. B Corp is, of course, very relevant to today in terms of ethos. But I wanted to share with you, actually, with you all, as you're looking to make change, is what it did for us in being a North Star for change. It provided us a framework, and equally important, a focus to drive change within the agency, just like the intent and the actions of AdNet Zero. B Corp was a 2-year process driven tirelessly by the CEO Xavier Rees, resulting in certification for our agency, Havas London, in 2018. I'm sure most of you know the central tenet of B Corp certification is written into your company's articles of association that people, profit and planet are placed on equal footing. Here's what the certificate we were awarded looks like. It's made out of wood, and it's on our wall. We continue to work with B Corp and are currently waiting for adjudication for certification for the entire Havas UK group and all of its agencies. As a side note for any global folks here, the certification in one office catalyzed countries into action, other countries. So Havas agencies in New York, Amsterdam, Malaysia are now certified with more in the process. And this wasn't a global initiative or a mandate. Our role in London is just to advise whoever wants some advice on it. It just created a momentum. And what's most relevant about our B Corp experience in the context of today is it was the catalyst for the start of a wider cultural shift at Havas. As people became inspired by it, proud of it, more and more people became engaged. More people are asking, what more can we do? Fast forward, the stakes are even higher, the urgency is greater, and the realization that new initiatives that we were starting in different pockets were not enough. They weren't a strategy. Most of all, the realization that we are not going to get to the answers on our own and through good intent alone. So we formed several partnerships. With Forum for the Future, a leading sustainability nonprofit, we work with their guidance to set an ambition for the future. They have this 4-stage mindsets framework. This helped us give us a North Star in the 3 and 4 space. To some greater or lesser degree, we were starting already on number 2. And you can map this against the AdNet Zero actions against these mindsets, which now has given us both immediate actions and targets to work towards. And this work dovetailed with a framework that was developed by our Paris headquarters that Yannick mentioned under the banner of Havas Impact. 3 pillars of environment, people, and meaningful communication. In the UK, we know that if we're going to make any progress with Impact Plus, it has to be in equal parts philosophy and a methodology. And as a leadership, is our aim to move sustainability from being one of the things we do to be at the core of everything we do. It has to become in the DNA of the company that we want to be. So having this structure, and crucially having key partnerships like AdNet Zero and AdGreen, we believe is the only way we think we're going to make any progress. So I'm going to go into the pillars a little bit more. And again, I'm going to do this for the purpose that maybe a couple of the nuggets are helpful to other companies in their endeavors. I know that lots of you are already well underway with your own policies and programs. So Pillar 1, environment. A quick acknowledgement just to some of the partners that were helping us in this work. So Ad Net Zero, obviously, we sit on both its working and steering groups as well as committees across each of its 5 action points. We were co-founders of AdGreen. Our head of production, Katie Keith, sits on its advisory board and helped in the development of the AdGreen carbon calculator. We partnered with GreenShoot, the award-winning environmental and sustainability consultancy for the creative industries, and its environmental program Green Screen, which facilitates green production. Havas Media Group are active members of the IPA Media Climate Action Group. They continue to expand their sustainability marketplace in the UK that finds ways for clients to invest in ethical and responsible advertising, helping to create a more sustainable media ecosystem. They're also co-authored the Conscious Advertising Network's manifesto on climate and sustainability. Now I want to share with you some of the actions, starting with getting your house in order. So this is our house. In 2017, we united all our London agencies under one roof, under a brand new building in King's Cross, or as we call it, HKX, Havas King's Cross. This was a major advantage, much less than the challenge that maybe some of you have faced or are facing in repurposing an existing building. We had the opportunity to import our house being in good order before it was built. And it was actually the first thing I was asked to do after being appointed Group CCO that month, which is a bit daunting given I've never even designed a flat before. A lot of sustainability measures, thankfully, had been factored into the plans, but where we could make further adjustments, we did, particularly around reclaimed materials and furnishings. For example, I had to draw the line at a brand new marble floor. Instead, we reclaimed a floor from a local eye hospital. When it first put down, it looked terrible. It looked like someone had dumped firewood. It became known as Whelan's floor when it looked like that. Then it was sanded and stained and looked amazing. It was once again our floor. And I think this is probably an allegory for politicians and positive change, but I can't think of what the allegory is. You're going to see from this diagram some of the inbuilt sustainability measures, such as the rainwater being used for the toilet system and the solar panel in the roofing, and many other things. HKX, as we call it, has been certified as outstanding for its sustainability by BREEAM. BREEAM, if you don't know already, is the world's leading science-based suite of validation and certification systems for a sustainable built environment. What's interesting is what we do and continue to do with the operations in and around the building. We think of it as housing a community, a village we call it. So we really think about the impact it has on the community that work there and the wider community in the area. We focus on detail. For example, no food for the cafe is wasted at the end of the day. It's either redistributed or it's turned into compostable material to be used in a local community gardening project. We are zero waste to landfill. This focus on the detail, on every aspect, creates a culture where our people know they are part of a collective will, trying to do better, one that they can participate in and influence. We try to go above and beyond getting our house in order, but we're absolutely aware that this is not going to make the significant bigger picture impact that's required. That's why we work with Ad Net Zero and AdGreen. That work is so important. We're deploying use of carbon calculators across all of our client work, media and production, and next in events. Let me just take production as an example of the difference it's starting to make. The combination of AdGreen training and a deployment of the carbon calculator across production jobs has brought a new awareness and behavior that is now baked into the production process and decision-making around it. It's not just confined to producers, as it's now also a consideration in the entire creative process, where we're interrogating the idea itself before exploring how we make it. In every pre-production meeting with clients, sustainability is now an agenda point so that it is a line item in the consideration process. And the producers are asking questions of everything. Travel and transport are by far the biggest contributors to the carbon footprint. So we ask, can we shoot remotely with a local director, which obviously is way more normalized post-COVID? Can we reduce the number of attendees? Another question is, can we store and reuse sets? So the Asda Christmas ad you may have seen is a reused set, and the rest has been built in post. And a side note, did you know that making shoot catering vegan does not have an insignificant impact on the carbon footprint? I'm a vegan, I'm just saying that. The point of all this is to say that the work we're doing when we embrace Add Net Zero and Add Green is creating a culture, a mindfulness with positive outcomes that we must maintain and we must push further. We are very aware that everything we do in every aspect of our business, we need to push again. We're currently re-baselining our emissions across the UK and Ireland, measuring an expanded scope of emission categories across scopes 1, 2 and 3. And in doing so, we can understand where our most significant emissions are and be targeted in our reduction planning. And in that motivation to push again, we've contracted Genus, the Havas network sustainability practice, to work with us on this next phase, to evolve our strategy and our best practice. We have to keep doing this, not least because everyone in the industry, we're developing new capabilities and new technologies to best service our clients. So we need to be factoring sustainability into these rapid evolutions. On the subject of clients, I want to recognize the roles of clients like Unilever and Reckitt that pioneered and purpose and sustainability, bringing it into mainstream focus. And welcome the fact that now we are seeing questions around agency sustainability practices featuring in the RFI stage of new business pitches. Our other middle pillar, people. I'm not going to dwell on this today, but our approach to people is a fundamental pillar of Impact Plus. We've got several initiatives that engage with the wider community outside HKX, such as our pro bono work with youth homelessness charity New Horizons, and providing free space for young entrepreneurs, startups through the Fish Tank programme. For Havas UK employees, obviously Impact Plus is about treating people right, to consider their well-being as well as their career path. It's also about creating opportunity for people who wouldn't normally consider or be considered for the industry. For example, we run Havas Platform, which has led to 16 new full-time hires in 2022, and we will go again in February. And initiatives like Platform are not just about being good citizens, but it's about being better at what we do. How can we hope to be equipped and informed to communicate issues like sustainability to society if society is not represented within our company? And again, we have to do more. We have to push further. Directly relevant to Add Net Zero, I wanted to show you how we've organized our people into groups out of each of the 5 actions. The leads at the center form a working partnership with sustainability champions in each agency. They in turn work with a group of 5 within each agency on the specific task. This is how we've kept it thus far manageable. But we're also now realizing that it's too much for even a full-time sustainability manager on their own. And with sustainability now a top level and central strategy, we need someone at C-suite to help us make the progress we need. So now we're actively searching for a Chief Sustainability and Impact Officer for the UK. We know that for the particular shape of our business in the UK, we need that person in the UK, focused on the UK, to make things happen. So if anyone's interested, please get in touch. Final pillar is meaningful communications, which is pretty much action 5 on the Add Net Zero famous 5. The actions we take as an industry about our own footprint is vital, but we know that in terms of impact, it's the actions of the mass populations that will have the greatest impact, which leads to the questions about what influence we have in a positive or a negative way. So we're asking these questions by working with purpose disruptors and engaging in the Change the Brief program. And again, I want to recognize the role of another agency, Mindshare, in pushing to open this up to the wider industry. I wanted to share with you the kinds of questions being asked in our agencies as a result of Change the Brief. I wanted to show you how it's tangible. Let's take an agency like Havas Helia, which is our CX practice that includes ECRM and loyalty. And you can see they're deep diving into questions about what they do, the work they do, and all of their client work and the systems. These are the kind of questions they're asking themselves, and importantly, they're engaging in with their clients, asking about new paradigms in loyalty, taking inspiration from someone like Kiehl's, where bringing back bottles to be used or recycled, that becomes the loyalty scheme. In other agencies, it's also prompting us to ask questions in the creative ideation process that we just wouldn't have done before. So I'm happy to share with you this target that we're starting to play with as an evaluation tool when we're looking at creative ideas, where sustainability becomes a major part of the criteria. It doesn't mean that every campaign will be about sustainability, but it will be a consideration. For example, in a film, it might be a case of we see a family plug in an electric vehicle, even if the film is not about electric vehicles. It's about normalizing everyday sustainable behaviors, and advertising is a part of everyday normal life. And AdGreen have got a whole bunch of great suggestions about how you could implement these kind of ideas. Of course, to make work that is about sustainability is hugely important. And later today, Annie Smith will show you some brilliant examples from Cannes. My favourites are the ones that are the everyday, reaching millions of people in their everyday lives, normalising sustainable behaviours to become everyday behaviours. A piece of Havas work I'm really proud of is for Vanish, which has vanished, ironically. And there it is. Our brilliant client, Fabrice from Reckitt, may talk about this and some of their other brands tomorrow. What I love about this case is the shift in strategy into a sustainability story, and it's transformed the brand and its success. Up until that moment, the psychology of Vanish was a distress purchase for stain emergencies. When the strategy shifted to being about clothes lasting for longer, on one level about not tossing them into landfill, on another about extending the lifetime of something you love, then everything changed. The story became about looking after what you love, the joy of re-wearing, hand-me-downs, etc. So I'm going to show you two films. The first one is the one that set up the brand idea, and the next one is where we are now, which is the everyday normalization.
Vanish has always been there to make little problems vanish, but now they're taking on a bigger one. Too many of our clothes are worn just 10 times before they're thrown away and replaced, creating over 90 million tons of waste. But by taking care of the clothes we love for longer, removing stains and protecting colors, we can all waste less and we wear more. See, Vanish is still helping problems disappear. Just bigger, more important ones.
Meet Daisy, the teenager who loves hand-me-downs. That jacket from her older sister, those jeans from her auntie, and that playsuit, it was her cousin's, then it was her sister's, and now hers. A scoop of Vanish powder in every wash is the one-stop solution that gets rid of stains, odors, and keeps colors bright. Keeping clothes looking great, making those hand-me-downs easier to love. Clothes live longer with Vanish.
So I know there is a will amongst this group and the wider industry to make work that has a positive impact. When we as individuals and as an industry unite around the ambition of Ad Net Zero, Ad Green, Change the Brief, and all the other like-minded initiatives, then we can start to drive change. Let's keep working together. Let's keep talking. Let's keep sharing. Let's keep pushing. Thank you.